Welcome to Dublin San Ramon Services District Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant's annual neighborhood update. Normally, we do these updates on site at the treatment plant at 7399 Johnson Drive, Pleasanton. But this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are doing this update virtually. I am Levi Fuller. I'm the Plant Operations Supervisor for DSRSD, and I'm going to give an update on biosolids treatment and odor control. The Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant is located in Pleasanton. Here's the treatment plant proper next to the 680 freeway. And then on the north side of Stone Ridge Boulevard and south of 580, the district also has its facultative sludge lagoons, a dedicated land disposal area, and this facility here is the LAVMA Waste Management Agency's export pump station, which takes the effluent from Dublin, San Ramon, and the city of Pleasanton and transports it to San Francisco Bay. The treatment plant has 5 sewer lines that bring sewage into the treatment plant. There is the Dublin San Ramon line, which comes right under the entrance gate into the treatment plant. And then the city of Pleasanton has 4 sewer trunk lines that conveys wastewater into the treatment plant. The East Amador trunk line, which brings sewage in from the eastern part of Pleasanton. The Highland Oak sewer line, which brings sewage from the west part of Pleasanton under the 680 freeway and into the treatment plant. And then sewer lines 6 and 8 brings sewage from the city of Pleasanton south up along the 680 freeway and into the plant. About 40% of the wastewater that comes into the treatment plant comes from the city of Dublin. About 8% comes from the city of San Ramon, and about 52% of the wastewater comes from the city of Pleasanton. Here is a diagram of the treatment facilities within the wastewater treatment plant. Currently, the plant has a design capacity of 17 million gallons per day. On an average day, about 10 million gallons of wastewater is conveyed into the treatment plant. On an annual basis, we recycled about 40% of the wastewater that comes into the treatment plant. And each year, about 23% of DSRSD water sales come from recycled water. So we're going to talk a little bit about, here are the liquid treatment train here and solids here. And a lot of the odor control infrastructure in the treatment plant is to mitigate odors from the raw sewage that comes into these treatment facilities. So the treatment plant has 3 main odor treatment facilities. There is a soil scrubber on the west side of the treatment plant. There's an odor reduction tower in the heart of the treatment plant located here. And there's a third smaller soil scrubber here, and I'll talk a little bit in detail about how those work. So first of all, this odor reduction tower is located in the center of the treatment facility. The piping that you see right here is foul air piping that is conveying the foul air from some of the odorous compounds and facilities in the treatment plant. And that foul air is blown up through this odor reduction tower. Inside of this tower, there's plastic media kind of shaped like a honeycomb. Biomass grows on that media, and as the foul air is pushed up through this odor reduction tower, it's treated by that biomass, and the treated air is exhausted into the atmosphere. And the soil scrubber operates on the same principle, except here, the soil acts as a media rather than plastic. And again, the foul air is taken, blown up through the soil, and the treated air is dispersed into the atmosphere. So as the solid material comes into the treatment plant, it is first thickened, and then it is put into anaerobic digesters that are heated up to 98.7 degrees or human body temperature. In there, the same microorganisms that digest food in human bodies also continues to biodegrade and compost that material in these digesters for a period of about 30 days. From there, that material is sent out to facultative sludge lagoons where it continues to undergo biodegradation and composting for another 4 to 6 years before that material is finally injected into our dedicated land disposal area. Digester capacity and cleanliness of the digesters is important to minimizing odor control. Federal regulations require that that material be biodegraded for a minimum of 15 days. In 2018, DSRSD added a fourth digester, which increased the treatment time from 24 to 36 days. In 2019, DSRSD cleaned its smaller digesters, and in the spring of 2021, DSRSD will clean digester number 3. Each year before sludge is harvested out of our facultative sludge lagoons, our operators go out and they sample and measure the depth of the solids in all of these lagoons. And then whichever of those lagoons has the greatest amount of accumulation, that facultative sludge lagoon is then targeted for sludge harvesting in the coming summer. Before sludge harvesting, the 50-acre dedicated land disposal area has to be tilled or disked to prepare it for sludge injection, and that sludge injection period usually lasts from about May into October. Over the last couple of years, on average, DSRSD has harvested about 37,000 cubic yards of biosolids and injected it into the dedicated land disposal area. And for a point of reference, about 1,650 cubic yards of biosolids is enough to cover a football field 1 foot high. And DSRSD achieves Class A sludge or Class A biosolids. Class B is all that is required by federal regulation, and we meet Class A standards, which is basically given to us because of greater pathogen destruction than would normally be expected from a biosolids treatment process. In 2020, DSRSD harvested 9.3 million gallons of sludge. It took us about 78 days during the summer to do that. Again, about 37,000 cubic yards of biomass was removed from the lagoons, and that was enough to cover a football field 23 feet high. So the district's odor hotline number is 925-519-0557. Feel free to call that hotline number if you ever have any issues with odors or any other questions that you might have regarding the operations of the treatment facility. And what we have listed here is the number of odor calls the facility has received and as you can see, we achieve about 4 to 8 odor calls a year, and that's vast improvement from what we had. Some of you people that have been in the area for a long time might remember back in March of 2000, due to the fact that at that time the district had inadequate digestion capacity and inadequate facultative lagoon treatment capacity, and we had an odor incident that we referred to as the stockyard smell, where we were receiving 87 odor calls in a day. So that was over 20 years ago, and the district has made vast improvements in odor controls since that time. So again, just remember that the odor hotline number is 925-519-0557. That phone number is manned or staffed 24 hours a day. Feel free to call if you ever have any concerns about odor control. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our operations manager, Jeff Carson. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, Levi, for that wonderful presentation. Over 2 decades of overseeing the regional treatment processes is a great feat. Greetings, I'm Jeff Carson, Operations Manager for Dublin San Ramon Services District. Through this pandemic, we are at work adhering to the county orders and adjusting operations to protect our workforce from potential COVID-19 exposure and sustaining our services of water, wastewater, and recycled water. We are communicating to our state regulatory authorities, working at a regional and state level to ensure the best COVID-19 protection and practices are being used. As you heard from Mr. Fuller, our active capital improvements construction at the Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant continues during the county's strict requirements to maintain on schedule. We appreciate your patience as we continue to provide essential services to protect public health and the environment. Thank you very much for your interest.